हेलो एवरीवन, वेरी गुड इवनिंग। स्वागत है आप लोग का वापस से हमारे सेशन में, जिसमें कि हम लोग डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं गोल्ड के बारे में। डिस्कस करने से पहले एक बार बता दीजिए, आप लोग का आवाज़ क्लियर है और स्क्रीन प्रॉपर्ली विजिबल है? इफ सो काइंडली प्रेस 43 तो कि हम लोग सेशन स्टार्ट कर सकें। ओके, सो गोल्ड का मूव देख सकते हैं। 1788.93 के लेवल्स पे हम लोगों ने अपनी पोजीशन को क्लियर किया हुआ है। 1790.63 के लेवल्स पे शॉर्ट किया, दो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, सॉरी 1791.24 के लेवल्स पे शॉर्ट किया और 1790.23 के लेवल्स पे क्लियर कर ली। गोल्ड के प्राइसेस अभी भी करेक्ट करते हुए 1788.6570 के लेवल्स पे। ओके, सो गोल्ड एक बार करेक्ट करते हुए 1790 का जो हर्डल था उससे एक बार करेक्शन की और 1788-89 के लेवल्स बनाते हुए फिलहाल आ जाते हैं अपने डिस्कशन पॉइंट पे। तो हम लोग डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं कुछ चीजें। That could fuel demand for inflation hedges even further, keeping real rates. The Fed is still buying truckloads of those inflation protected bonds each month, even if the pace of its purchases will slow down now that the tapering process has commenced. Safe haven demand for gold. Geopolitical tensions have also intensified. Two theaters deserve close attention. For a few months now, China has been conducting military exercises around Taiwan, which is considered a runaway convenience. Similarly, Russia has been amazing troops next to Ukraine, leading America to warn an invention may be imminent. Neither is likely to escalate into actual war, but the risk alone could be enough to boost safe haven demand for gold. The bull argument is favorable. The last leg of the bull argument is favorable seasonality. Even though seasonal patterns shouldn't really work in efficient markets, they apparently work in gold, which has a history of performing well in January. Bullion has gained in the last 8 out of 10 Januaries, and in recent years, traders seems to be front running this pattern from December. But the big picture is not so bright. Having said all that, it's difficult to envision any rally being sustained for long. Everything hangs on inflation saying is scorching hot, but there is a strong chance that inflationary pressures will cool towards the end of the next year. So Goldilocks environment for gold, the chaos in supply chain will eventually subside. More energy production is coming back. And year-on-year comparisons will become much tougher for April onwards, artificially lowering the yearly CPI rate. And if inflation doesn't cool by itself, central banks will raise rates enough to bring it down. In other words, this is the Goldilocks environment for gold. It could persist for a while longer, but heading into the middle of next year, all bets are off. Yields can't stay this depressed forever with the central banks raising interest rates. Enjoy the party while it lasts, but don't stick around too long. आ जाते हैं MT4 टर्मिनल पे, तो वापस से एक बार तेजी बनाते हुए 1860 के लेवल्स। 1859 1860 के levels market move करती हुई. Moving towards goldnewsreuters.com, which is our favorite site. So gold studies at inflation risk by safe haven material appeal. So gold made top 1900 if inflation moves higher analyst. Investors keep close tab on Biden's nominee for Fed chair. So gold edged higher on Friday as rising inflation buyers its safe haven appeal. Although a stronger dollar and expectation that central bank would hike interest rate kept bullion on course for its first weekly decline in three. Spot gold rose 0.2% to $1861.90 per ounce by 12:08 GMT. US gold futures gained 0.2% to $1864.20. The dollar was set to post its fourth week of gain, making gold more expensive for those holding other currencies as traders wager on interest rates raising faster. Higher interest rate translate into an increased opportunity cost of holding the non-interest bearing metal. US Federal Reserve policymakers are penciling in the possibility of earlier interest rate hikes than they thought would be needed just a few months ago. The Fed announcing a rate hike at some point next year is gold negative, but there is still a lot of uncertainty, a lot of inflation concern to help gold stay supported in this environment. The potential for inflation to keep moving even higher could propel gold to move above 1900 an ounce. Investors are keeping a close tab on US President Joe Biden nominee as the next chair of the Fed, with analysts expecting a potential appointment of Lai Brennan, considered to be more dovish than Jerome Powell, to trigger further gains in gold. But while elevated inflation has enticed strong buying interest in gold, expectation of policy normalization by the US Fed and other major central banks amid a sharp recovery in growth remains the key headwind for the metal. Elsewhere, spot silver fell 0.1% to $24.75 per ounce, while platinum slid 0.7% to $1040.51, and palladium dropped 1.5% to $2101.33. आ जाते अपने डिस्कशन पॉइंट की ओर और डिस्कस करते बाकी की चीजें. Sorry. So gold builds a bear flag at a big resistance level. So points to be discussed today: gold talking points, the bullish trend in gold from double bottom to 1900, gold and USD, XAU to rise versus US dollar if stock market rout or depends, gold technical forecast, XAU USD drop after correction. So gold talking points, gold precises put in a major breakout at a very key level last week. The potent combo of a dovish FOMC and a really strong inflation print helped to drive real yields lower, which helped to support topside in gold even as the US dollar gained. Gold is holding within a bullish channel that's seen as 50% of the recent bearish trend, clamped back, making for a bear flag. Buyers can look for gold pullback themes to the 1834 level, while sellers may have their open door to take a shot at pullback or reversal them. It's been a tough year for gold bulls, and that can even span back to the last November 9 to go to a little stronger than the past year. November 9th was a key day as this was when word of vaccines started to make its way through markets about a week after the US presidential election. At the time, the bullish trend in gold appeared good to go, with price action holding support around 23.6%. Fibonacci retracement of the 2018 to 2020 major move. But as positive news around vaccines started to circulate, gold prices were punished to the tune of 5% that day, with price action making an immediate retreat back down to support. The next 4 months were equally discouraging on the long side as prices continued to trickle all the way down to the 1680 level in early March, which finally started to show some support. This is around a 38.2% Fibonacci retracement, and this price ended up producing a double bottom formation in March or April. From double bottom to 1900, so that double bottom formation produced an outsized reversal setup after a second test at the 1680 level in March. I started to look at the potential for a greater bullish reversal, and that started to show in mid April and through May. Price ran all the way up to 1900 psychological level, but again were thwarted by seller at resistance. This is also around the time that the Fed started to talk up the prospects of asset purchase taper, which brought along the implication for an eventual liftoff for rates. By early August, price had already tipped over the other test around that 1680 level. The bounce from that price went right back to the 1834 area, of which there were already three failed tests. This price held resistance into the last week's trade until finally bulls were able to punch through. That breakout has continued to run, setting a fresh 5 months high at 1877 level. Lurking just above is the 1900 psychological level, which helped to turn around that bullish advances in June. So gold and USD. At this point, both gold and the US dollar have put in the strong bullish trend over the past week. The driver has been expectations of the Fed to react to inflation, but perhaps even more to the point, the continued drive of inflation is pulling both of these trends. The big question is when the Fed might actually pivot into a more hawkish stance switch. to date hasn't yet happened. The December FOMC rate decision may present that situation, but the Fed will likely be cognizant of the overall risk trade and the potential to work against the recovery that all of this stimulus has been driving for. सो आ जाते एक बार MT4 टर्मिनल पे MT4 टर्मिनल पे प्राइसेस 1788 89 के आसपास मूवमेंट दिखाते हुए 1788.8586 के लेवल बनते हुए थोड़ी सी करेक्शन मार्केट में 1789 1789.12 के लेवल्स बनते हुए मार्केट थोड़ी सी अपसाइड स्पाइक के साथ अब 1789.2 1789.3 के लेवल्स बनते हुए वापस एक शॉर्ट ग्रीन कैंडल बनती है। मार्केट पूरी तरीके से रेंज बाउंड है। 1789.3842 के लेवल्स 1789.5 1789.3 1789.47 के लेवल्स ओके, सो आ जाते हैं अपने डिस्कशन पॉइंट पे। So gold price forecast major bearish technical reversal levels for XAU USD. So gold price outlook scuffed up by rising rates. Correlations deteriorate between gold volatility and gold prices. GBZ gold volatility technical analysis, gold price rate technical analysis, IG client sentiment index. Gold prices may continue to fall. So gold prices have been obliterated this week as Fed rate hikes have surged around commentary from Fed Chair Powell and incoming Fed Vice Chair Bennett. A return back to the uptrend from August 2021 and September 2021 swing lows near 1770 is in focus in the short term before support comes into play. According to the IG Client Sentiment Index, gold prices are now have a bearish bias in the near term. It's been a rough week for gold prices, triggered by US President Joe Biden's nominations for Fed Chair Jerome Powell to a second term and Fed Governor Lyle Brainerd to Vice Chair. Both Fed policymakers used their remarks on Monday to underscore their focus on reducing inflation pressures, provoking a sharp acceleration in Fed rate hikes odds, nominal US Treasury yields, and a drop in US break-even inflation rates. Forward-looking market expectations of price pressures. Sorry. The net result has been a dramatic surge in the US Treasury yields. If gold prices have been benefiting in recent weeks from the drop in US real yields to all-time lows, then bullion just had its most protect catalyst for torn under asunder. True, US inflation rates are expected to stay elevated over the coming months, which may cushion gold prices from a significant fall. But the Fed's renewed focus on combating inflation via faster tapering schedule and the potential hiking rates sooner than anticipated may duly prevent a significant rally by gold prices henceforth. Correlation deterioration between gold volatility and gold prices. So historically, gold prices have a relationship with the volatility, unlike other asset classes. This may not be one of the those times, however. GBIH Gold Volatility Technical Analysis Daily Price Chart November 2022 नवंबर 2021 देख सकते हैं। नवंबर 2020 में प्राइसेस बहुत ज़्यादा हाइक पे थे और नवंबर 2021 में एक कंसोलिडेशन फेज अभी भी बनाई हुई है मार्केट। इवन दो एक ब्रेकआउट देखने को मिला था और फिर से वही रेंज आती हुई मार्केट में वापस से देखने को मिल रही है। सो GBIH गोल्ड वोलेटिलिटी टेक्निकल एनालिसिस डिस्कस करने से पहले एक बार मूव करते हैं अपने MT4 टर्मिनल की ओर। तो प्राइसेस 1788 के लेवल्स पे 1788.6768 के लेवल्स। मार्केट वापस से थोड़ी सी करेक्शन की ओर 1788.2931 के लेवल्स पे। मूव करते हैं अपने डिस्कशन पॉइंट की ओर. सो गोल्ड वोलेटिलिटी that as measured by the CBOE's Gold Volatility ETF GBIH, which tracks the 1 month implied volatility of gold as derived from the GLD option share, was trading at 16.57 at the time this report was written. The relationship between gold prices and gold volatility has eroded in recent days as the uptick in volatility has been marked by a sharp decline in gold prices. The 5-day correlation between GBJ and the gold price is 0.33, while the 20-day correlation is 0.56. 1 week ago, on November 16, the 5-day correlation was 0.67 and the 20-day correlation was 0.75. Gold prices were flagging last week but failed to live up to their bullish potential. It was previously noted that a move through Tuesday's high of 1877.14 would signal the continuation of the bullish breakout move back towards the August high at 1916.62. 1877.14 was never overtaken, and what soon followed was an absolute gutting of gold prices. Instead, a significant bearish technical reversal has transpired, throwing that out any previous technical inclinations of a sustained rally. In falling back below a trifecta of key levels around 1835, that descending trend line from the August 2020 and June 2021 swing highs, inverse head and shoulders neckline at the summer swings highs, and the ascending trend line from the May 2019, March 2020, and March 2021 lows. A deeper setback may have just begun. A return back to the move uptrend from the August 2021 and September 2021 swing lows and near 1770 is in focus in the short term before support comes into play. Gold prices have fallen back, so it's been previously noted that 1835 level may soon be broken, warranting a shift in the longer term outlook from neutral to bullish. Alas, gold price have fallen back below 1835, suggesting that a false bullish breakout transpired. It may be case that gold prices now back within their triangle in place since June 2020 are due to trade over in a choppy fashion for the foreseeable future. Gold prices technical structure on the weekly time frame has eroded quickly. Gold prices are now below the weekly 4, 13 and 26 exponential moving average envelope, which is in neither bearish or bullish sequential order. Weekly MACD's climb through its signal line has been halted, while weekly slow stochastic are dropping from overbought territory for the first time this month. Gold retailer trader data. So gold retail trader data showed 74.67% of traders are net long, with the ratio of traders long to short at 2.95 to 1. The number of traders net long is 14.98% higher than yesterday and 12.49% higher from last week, while the number of traders net short is 4.08% higher than yesterday and 18.59% lower from last week. We typically take a contrarian view to crowd sentiment, and the fact traders are net long suggests gold prices may continue to fall. Traders are further net long than yesterday's and last week, and the combination of current sentiment and recent changes gives a stronger bearish contrarian trading bias. गोल्ड टेक्निकल एनालिसिस की बात करते हैं. So gold is extremely oversold according to the technical indicators on the 4-hour chart, which anyway keep heading firmer lower as the price pressures its daily low. In this time frame, the metal is developing below all of its moving averages, having broken below the 200 simple moving average for the first time in the 3 weeks. Support levels 1771.95, 1758.80, and 1745.20, whereas resistance level 1792, 1803, and 1817.75. आ जाते हैं अपने MT4 टर्मिनल पे. तो MT4 टर्मिनल 1788.40, सेवनटीन एटी एट पॉइंट वन फोर. ओके सो हम लोग आते हैं अपने गोल्ड न्यूज़ किटको .com पे। सो गोल्ड न्यूज़ किटको के बारे में डिस्कस करते हैं। अभी भी ओपनिंग से 12.1 मूविंग बैक टू द एम्प्टी टर्मिनल the convergence of Fibonacci 38.2% one day, SMA 10 4 hours and SMA 100 1 hour. The next significant upside barrier for gold buyers is seen at $1869, where the previous week's high and 5.1 day R1 coincide. Acceptance above the latter will expose the Bollinger Band one day upper at 1873, above which the previous day's high of 1877 will get challenged. Alternatively, a break below 1857. Okay, here we are talking about the another area कि अगर मान लो मार्केट ऊपर नहीं जाती है और नीचे आती है, then एक अच्छा सपोर्ट है 1857. If it break, that is the confluence of Fibonacci 23.6% one day and 1 week, will reinforce the recent bearish momentum towards the pivot point 1 month R2 at 1850. तो हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि अगर 1857 के नीचे again minor support of the Fibonacci 38.2% one week at $1847 will be the next step for gold bears. Okay, so now we are heading towards fundamental overviews. So gold price is staging an impressive rebound on Wednesday, having found a strong support at the midpoint of 1800 level. The renewed upside in the gold price come on the back of a retreat in the US Treasury yields, which has taken the wind out of dollars rally to 16-month highs. Market remains risk averse amid growing concerns over inflation, heading to upturn in the inflation has cooled. When absence of the first tier US economic data, the dynamics in the yields and the dollar will continue to influence gold price alongside a slew of trades peak. वेडनेसडे आज हमारे पास जो इवेंट्स देखने को मिले वो है यूएसटी बिल्डिंग परमिट्स मंथ टू मंथ, यूएसटी हाउसिंग स्टार्ट्स मंथ टू मंथ। अभी हम लोग को देखने को मिलने वाला है फेड्स विलियम स्पीक और फेड्स बोमैन स्पीक, फेड्स डेली स्पीक, फेड्स फॉलर स्पीक एंड 20 years बॉन्ड ऑक्शन। 1 week के एवरेज फोरकास्टिंग रेट देखें तो 1865 पे बायस इज बुलिश एंड फॉर 1 month it is 1866.44, that is bullish bias, and for 1 quarter it is 1867.50। एक बार अगेन MT4 टर्मिनल पे चलते हैं तो प्राइसेस 1863 के लेवल्स के लिए रेडी होते हुए पूरी तरीके से। एट 62.9192 के लेवल्स बनाते हुए कल मार्केट ने जो थोड़ी सी गिरावट दिखाई थी 50 तक के लेवल 53 52, आज पूरी तरीके से उस लेवल को कवर कर लिया और वापस से 63 तक के लेवल्स पे मार्केट मूव करते हुए देखने को मिल रही है। So here we are discussing about that gold USD status relationship status is complicated. So if the dollar goes through a corrective downswing, it is more bullish for gold. Not if a decline in the euro caused gold to rise in the first place. So another day, another new yearly highs for the USD index. The US currency soars just like it has since the beginning of year. In turn with what I said at the time, the rally accelerated recently with the USD index soaring by 0.78 this week, and it's only Wednesday today. So surely that's bullish for the index, right? One might ask, no. Bullish और bearish relates to the future, not to the past. क्योंकि देखें तो हम लोग बहुत लोग ऐसे इमेजिन करते हैं कि अगर पास्ट में ऐसा मूव देखने को मिला है तो फ्यूचर में भी देखने को मिलेगा, बट किसी न किसी टाइम पे मार्केट उस लेवल को ब्रेक करेगी, एंड जिस टाइम वो ब्रेक करेगी उस टाइम लोगों के जितने भी प्रॉफिट्स थे सारे उनके लॉसेस में कन्वर्ट होते हुए दिखते हैं. सो वी शुड हैव टू बी रेडी ईच एंड एवरी टाइम कि मार्केट कभी भी कैसा भी मूव ले सकती है. वी मस्ट हैव टू बी रेडी मार्केट से लड़ने के लिए बेसिकली. So the rally in the USD index might need a breather as all markets, no matter how bullish or bearish the situation is in them, can't rally or decline in the straight line without periodic correction. The USD index, gold, silver, mining stocks, and practically all the other markets are no exceptions from this rule. Even the real estate's price don't increase over the long run without periodic downturns. Sorry. So हम लोग चार्ट के थ्रू देख सकते हैं there is almost always some sort of turnaround in the USD index at the turn of the month. And the USD's breakout to the new highs was confirmed in the terms of daily and weekly closing prices. That's why very bullish. So as you can see in the above chart, the US currency index soared to the almost 96 yesterday, and it's after an almost straight up rally. This rally caused the RSI indicator to move above 70, and this has been a quite precise short-term sell signal this year. In fact, in all cases when we saw it, some kind of short-term correction followed. Based on the size of the current rally, it seems that the current situation is more similar to what we see early March and late June. Saw a short-term decline that took the USDX approximately a full index point lower. In the current case, it could mean a decline back to 95. This would be a perfectly natural thing for USD index to go to right now, given that the previous metal resistance is located slightly below 95. The support is provided by the late 2020 high and March 2020 low. So surely this corrective downswing in the USD index would cause an even bigger rally in the precious metal sector, right? That's where things get complicated. You see the bigger over 50% part of the USD index is the Euro-USD currency pair. Let's take a look at it. So the Euro index moved sharply lower last week, and just like the RSI based on the USD index flashed and signal, the RSI based on the Euro index flashed by signal. Also, the Euro index just moved to the lower border of its declining trade channel, which is likely to indicate some sort of rebound. Why I'm discussing the euro here? Because that's what's complicated about the current USD gold link. तो हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि हम लोग यूरो के बारे में तक क्यों डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि इस टाइम जो है यूरो हमारा गोल्ड और यूएसडी को पूरी तरीके से लिंक करते हुए दिख रहा है. जिस तरीके से वो मूव कर रहा है उसी तरीके से इम्पैक्ट हम लोग को यूएसडी और गोल्ड में देखने को मिल रहा है. The euro recently declined and the prices of silver and gold recently rallied shortly after dovish comments from Eurozone. Namely, while the expansionary nature of fiscal and monetary decision in the US might be after the peak, the Eurozone is far from limiting the expansionary politics, and it was just made clear recently. That's why bearish for euro and bullish for gold price. as more money would be chasing the same amount of physical gold bars. The point here is that it might have been the decline in the value of European currency that caused gold to rally, and it has little to do with what happened in the USD index. So don't get me wrong, most of the time the gold USD link is stable and negative. In some cases, gold showed strength or weakness by refusing to the move in tune with the US dollar's movement, but in case it seems that it is not about the US dollar at all, but rather about what happened in the Eurozone and Euro recently. I mark the recent decline in the Euro and the rally in gold with a golden rectangle. The usual link between gold USD would have one assumed that लोअर यूएसडी इंडेक्स वैल्यू वुड ट्रिगर अ रैली इन गोल्ड। तो हम लोग बस एक ही लिंक देखते हैं हमेशा से कि लोअर यूएसडी रहेगा तो गोल्ड हमारा ऊपर जाएगा और हायर यूएसडी रहेगा तो गोल्ड हमारा नीचे आएगा। However, given how things worked and the fact that we saw or we heard that the news coming from Eurozone, it seems like the temporary and bearish for the PMS interpretation would actually prevail. It could also be the case that we see some kind of mixed reply from the precious metal sector when the USD index and the Euro index correct. The PMS could, for example, fall only after the situation regarding the gold USD link gets back to normal. That is perhaps after both currency correct. One. Okay. So moving towards 74 terminal, तो 64 के levels को touch करते हुए market वापस से एक बार 63 के levels पे एटीन 62 63 के लेवल्स पे मार्केट मूव करती हुई 2 मिनट में इसके अंदर की क्लोजिंग का टाइम है। देखते हैं उसका मूव किस डायरेक्शन में होता है और फिर डिस्कस करते हैं बाकी की चीजें। सो गोल्ड का मूव 1789 के लेवल्स पे करेक्शन की ओर। देख सकते हैं एक शॉर्ट ग्रीन कैंडल बनती है 1789 1790s के लेवल्स। ओके, सो आ जाते हैं अपने डिस्कशन पॉइंट पे। So, Commerzbank commodity analyst Daniel Brisman has written an article pointing out that the yellow metal still remains under pressure. He noted gold once again found itself under pressure for quite some time yesterday and dips at its lowest point below 1780 per troy-ounce. He added, in our opinion, the main factor weighing on its price was the persistently firm US dollar for the first time since the middle of the last year. The Euro USD exchange rate slid below the 1.12 mark for a time. It was not until late trading day that gold recouped its losses and it is trading this morning at a good 1790. Gold in euro terms is priced at around 1600 per troy ounce again. The moderate fall in the bond yields probably continued to the slight recovery. When it comes to investment flow, Brisman noted intrinsically ETF investors took advantage of the price slide in recent days to build up their holdings. Since last Friday, the gold ETFs tracked by Bloomberg have registered inflows of 16 ton. Even if yesterday saw a marginal outflow, the SPDR Gold Trust accounted for most of the inflows. Last Pressman spoke about Fed policy and said, as anticipated, the minutes of most recent Fed meeting on 2nd or 3rd November brought on no new signals, insights. After all, Fed Chair Powell had already announced at the subsequent press conference that so-called tapering would begin. At that the minutes revealed what that the FOMC member are in the favor of normalizing monetary policy, were quickly in the view of high inflation. This had been emphasized again by various Fed representatives themselves in speeches and interviews in recent days. So Fed to kick off a faster tapering plan from January, Goldman Sachs. So the Federal Reserve will likely double the pace of tapering its monthly bond purchases from January to $30 billion and wind down its pandemic era bond buying scheme by mid March, Goldman Sachs strategy said in a daily note on Thursday. The increased opens to accelerating the taper pace likely reflects both somewhat higher than expected inflation over the last 2 months and greater comfort among Fed officials that a faster pace would not shock financial markets. Despite the accelerated tapering calendar, Goldman expect the Fed to start raising interest rates only from June for a total of three times in 2022. The US Investment Bank is one of the several banks which have recently raised their interest rate hike expectation for 2022 to 3 from 2. Minutes of the central bank's November 22 to 3 policy meetings showed that various policymakers said they would be open to speeding up the taper for their bond purchasing program if high inflation held. So आ जाते हैं इस डेटा को डिस्कस करने सो गोल्ड प्राइस फोरकास्ट एक्सयू यूएसडी bears await a break below ascending trend line support. So some USD profit taking assisted gold to gain some positive traction on Thursday. Hawkish Fed expectations kept a lid on any meaningful gains for the commodity. Weakness below an ascending trend line is needed to confirm a fresh breakdown. Gold price forecast Thanksgiving Day unlikely to offer respite to XAU USD bulls amid a bear flag. Gold gained some positive traction on Thursday, albeit lacked any follow through and remained well within the striking distance of a 3 week low touched in the previous day. The US dollar witnessed some profit taking following the recent strong run up to the highest level since July 2020. This in turn was seen as a key factor that extended some support to the dollar denominated commodity. Apart from this, concerns about the economic fallout from the rising number of COVID 19 cases and the imposition of fresh lockdown measure in Europe further underpinned the safe haven gold. That said, a stable performance in the equity markets along with hawkish Fed expectations kept a lid on any further gains for the non-yielding yellow metal. The market seemed convinced that the Fed would be forced to tighten its monetary policy sooner rather than the later to contain stubbornly high inflation. The bets were reinforced by Wednesday's release of the US PCE price index, which accelerated to a 30-year high in October. Adding to this, the minutes of the November FOMC meeting revealed that were open to speeding up the tapering of the bond buying program and moving quickly to raise interest rates if high inflation persists. The Fed funds futures indicated that the possibility for an eventual rate hike move by mid 2022 and a high likelihood for another raise in November. This warrants some caution for bullish traders, and before confirming that gold prices might have bottomed out in the near term. The fundamental backdrop remains titled firmly in the favor of peers through relatively thin liquidity conditions on the back of Thanksgiving holiday in the US held back traders from placing fresh bets. Even from a technical perspective, gold so far has managed to defend a short term ascending trend line, support extending from the September monthly swing lows around the 1722 area. This further makes it prudent to wait for a convincing break below the mentioned support before positioning for any further depreciating move. टेक्निकल लेवल्स जो हम लोग को देखने हैं, आज का जो लास्ट प्राइस जो नोट किया गया 1790.91, डेली चेंज 2.71 पॉजिटिव, डेली चेंजेस परसेंट इज 0.15%, डेली ओपन 1788.2, ट्रेंड डेली सिंपल मूविंग एवरेज 20 1822.65, डेली सिंपल मूविंग एवरेज 50 1789.11, daily SMA 100 1793.67, daily SMA 200 1791.77. लेवल्स जो देखने को मिल रहे हैं, प्रीवियस डेली हाई 1796.51, प्रीवियस डेली लो 1778.63, previous weekly highs 1877.23, previous weekly low 1843.04, previous month high 1813.82, previous monthly low 1746.07, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 1785.46, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 1789.68, daily pivot point support 1, 1779.05, daily pivot point support 2, 1769.9, daily pivot point support 3, 1761.17, whereas daily pivot point resistance first 1796.93, daily pivot point resistance second 1805.66, and daily pivot point resistance 3 1814.81. 74 टर्मिनल पे देख लेते हैं एक दूसरी कैंडल फॉर्मेशन, वो भी डाउन साइड ही बन रही है। हम लोगों ने दो पोजीशन बनाई थी और दोनों ही प्रॉफिट साइड कन्वर्ट होती हुई दिखी हमें। सेवनटीन एटी नाइन पॉइंट वन थ्री के लेवल्स बनते हुए सो हमारी साइड से आज के लिए इतना ही। अगर आप लोग की साइड से कोई भी क्वेरी हो मेंशन कर दें। चार मिनट का टाइम है, अगर कोई भी क्वेरी हो कमेंट सेक्शन में मेंशन कर सकते हैं। लाइव चैट सेशन इज ओपन फॉर यू ऑल। ओके, सो हम लोग अभी का सेशन एंड कर रहे हैं। बाकी की चीज़ें कल के सेशन में डिस्कस करेंगे। सो तब तक के लिए थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग एंड कंसंट्रेटिंग एंड फॉर योर प्रीशियस टाइम। आई एम एंडिंग दिस सेशन राइट हियर राइट नाउ। ओके, सो हम लोग अभी का सेशन एंड कर रहे हैं। बाकी की चीज़ें